St. Martin people. 1 week into office, I would like to, many of my colleagues have already stated, but reiterate that we most definitely hold a record for having hit the ground running. As soon as we were sworn in last week, Tuesday, we went straight into meetings for the sake of gaining as much information as possible related to the reconstruction, the refinancing of the airport, as it has been a top priority and been delayed due to especially bondholders being wary of our political situation and whether the sitting Council of Ministers at the time was authorized to sign off on the agreements. Despite many meetings back and forth to reiterate such explanation of our system, they remained wary. So first order of the day was to finalize or get us close to finalizing these agreements as soon as possible. As such, the Secretariat organized, and I must thank Ms. Cassandra Janssen, our SG, for organizing several meetings moving forward from that day to today. Besides being updated by the many stakeholders as related to the airport reconstruction, our Council of Ministers held an emergency meeting last week in order to authorize the travel of our Justice Minister to be able to attend the CFATF plenary sessions, which started on Sunday. Minister traveled, Minister was able to speak to the delegations yesterday, and we look forward to hearing the news once tomorrow's meeting is held, where the plenary session between all of the other delegates from the Caribbean to decide on St. Martin's fate. We trust that all of the information will be taken into consideration, and we wish our minister much strength in the further deliberations. As far as our schedule goes, during this week as well, we had our ministerial consultation with our Kingdom partners of the Dutch government. Of course, the VNP, Chris Johnson, was present, and we were able to have a very fruitful meeting with our Council of Ministers and the minister, sitting Minister Knops, as well as Minister Deckers. We were also briefed by the Progress Committee on the prison and the police corps, and also held meetings. So we had two different meetings in terms of our ministerial overlay consultation, one on the airport refinancing and one about the Progress Committee of the prison and justice chain. We have reiterated to our partners how important we find it as a Council of Ministers to cooperate, collaborate, and of course communicate on a basis of mutual respect and understanding in order to build the trust that is necessary that we can move forward in a positive manner. I must say that it was well received, and especially with the decision taken last Friday in the Kingdom Council of Ministers, where we were represented by the Director Carol Volkers of the Plenipotentiary Cabinet. The Council of Ministers authorized her to sit in on that meeting and speak on our behalf, whereby we were asking for an update or a postponement of the payment of the bridge loan, which was due on the 15th of November. As we move forward with that, it has been extended, of course, to January, thankfully, 15, 2020, of course, with St. Martin having to live up to certain agreements in order for that to happen. We will continue for the rest of the week with more informative meetings with our government-owned companies, as well as a presentation on our budget. We already heard the Minister of Finance elaborate on that. As far as the reconstruction of the Princess Juliana International Airport is concerned, the government reiterates that based on our information sessions, that the NRPB and airport has agreed to share all documents, and I believe transparency was one of the biggest problems that the Parliament of St. Martin had with the agreements that had been presented. Not enough information had been shared by the previous government, and as a government, we wanted to open the doors that all who are involved and all who are expected to take the decision are aware of what is in these agreements.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Head of the Department of Labor and Social Affairs called the Consumers Coalition for a meeting on Monday afternoon on the refusal of medical aid to clients who are not complying with the legal criteria to get medical assistance from government. The invitation for an urgent meeting came after social media reactions and an article on the front page of the Daily Herald last Saturday with heading Consumers Coalition questions Social Affairs choice to refuse medical aid to senior citizens. Head of the department, Mrs. Peggy Ann Dross Richardson, explained the difficulties the caseworkers of the department have with advices they write and decisions of the Minister of VSA, who does not follow the advice all the time. In the case of senior citizen Mrs. Arundel, the department did write last year an advice to the Minister of VSA to grant Mrs. Arundel a medical card. But Minister Lee of VSA did not follow the advice and took a decision to refuse the renewal of the medical card. The objection of Mrs. Arundel of October last year after the intervention of the Ombudsman resulted in a hearing with the Appeal Committee for Social and Medical Aid in January of this year. The committee rejected the objection as insufficient proof of factual residency was given. Legal dispute. We explained the department head that we have here a criteria which is a ground of discrimination in the realization of a fundamental right to Social Security. The factual residency criteria in violation of the non-discrimination principle in Article 2 and the right to health in Article 12 of a ratified International Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights applicable in St. Martin. The criteria is also at odds with quite some articles in the state arrangement of St. Martin, as for instance Article 18 sub 2, which stipulates protection of the elderly and promotion of their health and welfare. Elderly persons like Miss Arundel, who have to choose shelter with family because of their factual housing situation, are being discriminated by the application of this legal criteria. This is also a violation of Article 43 of the Charter of the Kingdom, where all countries in the Kingdom have the obligation to realize human rights, good governance, and legal certainty. We informed the head of the department that in writing an advice they should not only look at national ordinance or decrees, but first and foremost at Article 81b of the State Arrangement of St. Martin. This article states clearly that international treaties ratified by the Kingdom and applicable in St. Martin is also legislation to be respected. We have also informed the Ombudsman that same morning about our legal dispute with the Ministry of VSA on this discriminatory criteria. The head of the legal department of Labor Social Affairs agreed that we may assist the senior citizen in filing a new application, which we did. Yesterday afternoon, we registered with the Department of Labor and Social Affairs an application for additional social allowance to complete her old age pension, and an application for medical assistance and an application for legal assistance so that we can take government to court about this discriminatory criteria in the National Ordinance for Medical Assistance, which, by the way, is not in the National Ordinance on Social Allowance. Lawyer Cormex offered his services to address this issue on behalf of the senior citizen in court. Consumers' rights are human rights, which at all times should be respected, be it by private sector entities or public entities.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
It is important also, we need to inform the general public of certain situations that we are encountering, such as we had inspectors of the TEAD department, the section Economic Control, has done their job. They have tested our scales, etc. We had earlier also meeting with the department head, of which they gave us certain explanation. And we also explained the nature of this event or this working exercise, which is to serve our general membership. We explained them clearly that this is not for profit or business operation. However, we are aware also of the fact that many grocers on the island, such as Chinese merchants and others, has been complaining. We have foreseen that. We knew of meeting that was held, and it was so coincidental that we were called in by the economic department just the same week that we took note of their meeting, and within 48 hours we were called to a meeting to discuss certain issues, of which we explained. They were there at the premises and they explained certain things that we have to comply with, which we are totally in agreement, such as the prices on the wall and in guilders. They tested the scales, all were passed with flying colors. They have their seal of the department on it. But one letter that has disturbed us very much is they're talking about a control that was exercised on the 25th of November, and they said violations based on applicable legislation were observed. And they also set a date that we should have attended the meeting. So I sent an email with the necessary documents to inform them of our compliance thus so far. And we need to know what are the violations that they are talking about based on applicable legislation if we are going to sit and discuss with this department, because we cannot go in. If they have the law, then it needs to be transparent, and we need to know what are the violations so we can prepare ourselves for such meeting, of which they have received an email from my person informing them to send me the violation in advance, so I will then be able to schedule a meeting with our lawyer so we can sit there. We are feeling somewhat that external powers are playing behind this, and that not to point finger directly, but we are saying that we believe that external power are playing, because we already explained in detail what is the nature of this program. Not to forget that this program benefits the general population, that poverty is rampant on this island, that the people are suffering, and that they are in need of an economic boost. And how? The Anti-Poverty Platform has proven by setting up this program, and in conjunction with the St. Martin Consumers, the United Consumer Association, and we have proven that that poverty exists on the island and that people is in need
of such program, but on a more durable base. And the benefits thereof has been evident that people are saving over 35 guilders on every 100 guilder or dollar in their pocket. That we have also proven that quality products need to be around in all supermarkets, and that these department needs to control to see to it that quality produce reach the consumer. Okay? And it is evident because we constantly find ourselves with folks that approach us that they still have in their refrigerators stuff from the first and second containers. We are talking about a long time that goods that we brought in on the first and second container are still around on the market and taking their time and just ripening, and folks are still using them. These are the testimony that we are receiving constantly from the general public. And not to forget about the affordability, improvement due to affordability. So we have contributed tremendously to the livelihood of the citizens of St. Martin. We have seen how many thousands has registered to this program, and we are seeing that the interest groups are trying to influence this program by trying to now reach to certain sector within the TEAT, while our permit has been signed by the then minister. Our permit has been signed by the then Minister of Economic Affairs, which is the last minister, who has signed our permit. So we are operating within the law. And when you sit with a department that is asking you, can we see your permit? It shows you already that we ask them, isn't this permit here within the same ministry? Shouldn't you have access to it? You know, but we also presented that and they can see it. But we can see the motive behind it. We can clearly see that these departments need to understand that they're working for everyone.
My first question is for Minister Irian. Several weeks ago, the former finance minister, Minister Kherlin, said that the country have about 20 to 25 million guilders in its coffers. What do we have now, and what is government's plan to better the financial situation?
Thank you for your question. Again, this afternoon we're having a meeting pertaining to the budget. I will also be updated on the liquidity situation and the cash for the country. I was updated about last week, and last week we had about 20 million, I believe. Between then and now, I haven't been updated pertaining to our liquidity, but by this afternoon I will be, and I will then again relay the message to the media. Being a former financial controller within the ministry, I know a couple of key things. For example, that soon we will be having the payment of the licenses coming in for the cars, the road tax. Then we will see a slight spike in our income. So our income for the country St. Martin, we see that in January there's a high spike, and it starts to go down from January, February, March, and so forth until it hits May again. And we basically get a flat line until the high season kicks in again. So our budget is mainly in terms of cash is spike down and back up. So we can see a spike, a slight spike in January. I am expecting because of the road tax, but I will be updated this afternoon pertaining to the exact amount of liquidity of cash we have on our accounts. Thank you, Mr. Brown. pertaining to my statement pertaining to vision, it was not necessarily saying that government lacks vision on a whole. It was basically saying that we need to have a vision for government to tackle certain issues. For example, one of the main concerns of the community is the instability within government. We have ministers coming and going. We have elections every 18 months based on the historical data. But one thing that doesn't change or isn't supposed to change is a vision. So it is my belief, for example, if you have a vision for education and you say, this is your vision, and a new minister comes in, most of the time, I believe they will work within that vision. Yes, they might have a couple of their own political projects or pet projects and so forth, but then at least it should align with the vision of the ministry. And the vision of the ministry should align, all ministries should align their visions with the overall vision of the government. And that is what I see that's lacking within the different ministries. We are not working on key performance indicators. We're not measuring, are we succeeding as a government to reach our vision?